Alright guys, we are back for another Dokkan Battle video. So I wanted to do a quick video on Nail here. One major thing, well I guess two major things happened. Number one is that Nail finally got a 200% leader skill with the introduction of Glorio into the game. Glorio actually does give a 200% leader skill buff to Nail. Now Nail has a pretty good toolkit. Nail is actually potentially useful against what is, to me, the most difficult boss in Dokkan history. In trying to beat that Kid Buu, I had a very, very close attempt. Well, I don't know if I want to use the wording close, but I had a deep run going. We got like 20 turns deep in or something like that before Kid Buu finally killed me. And in it, we saw craziness from Nail against the hardest boss in the game. In this footage, I'm going to try and just get some footage in here. We will see Nail, for example, double-digit tank a 9 million super. We've got some good stuff. So let's just take a look at some of the footage we had of Nail on Glorio's team going against the toughest boss in the game, Kid Buu. Alright guys, so we're going ahead and jumping in here. As you can see, this is what the max buff Kid Buu fight looks like. Now Piccolo, right, the Dokkan Fest Piccolo, he is unable to withstand attacks from this boss. But you guys know I build my characters a particular way to at least give us a chance. So my Piccolo was able to dodge a normal, and this run was able to continue. Now the plan here to try and beat this was to get Piccolo and Nail together on the same rotation. And then trying to utilize Nail's incredible defenses, just really try and make a good run at trying to win this. One huge issue with this plan, though, is the fact that both Dokkan Fest Piccolo and Nail are melee supers, which Kid Buu will block. Now, I believe when Piccolo transforms, he's not a melee super anymore, but in this run, which, we're going to be cutting back and forth, between the rotations, showing Nail, we could see just how quickly it is that Nail's defense becomes ludicrous. I mean, we're on Nail's second rotation right here, and look at the defensive stat he's got. And keep in mind, on top of that, Nail has the damage reduction. He gets 150% attack and defense and 30% damage reduction to 77% damage reduction. Less HP remaining, the greater the damage reduction. So there's that, right? So with that, he's going to be looking pretty good. And then, of course, Nail is also a support-type character. So it's like he really can just be very effective defensively very quickly early on in here. And then remember, every super attack Nail does is a 50% attack and defensive stack. So we'll see his attack stat continue to raise. I believe towards the end of this video, we do get him up to like a 13 million attack stat, but between his, big defense and his damage reduction, having a lot of these links up and some of these abilities, we do see Nail doing stuff like this, right? Like our HP was so low, and once my HP got low going through this run, I was doing my best to keep my HP as low as I possibly can, but we are just continually regenerating. Keep in mind that Nail and Piccolo, of course, are going to share the Namekian link, which is 7% HP regen, 7% attack, and 7% defense. And then obviously Dokkan Fest Piccolo does also heal at the start of turn as well. So because what happens with a run like this is pretty much all we could die to is Kid Buu's super attack. I mean, that's because I'm able to debuff him. I have it enabled to where I can attack debuff him, because if I was not able to attack debuff him, I just don't really think that there's any possible. I don't know. You would need unrealistic perfect luck, right? So I don't think it's gonna happen. He needs to be able to be attack debuffed, so that way it's the 9 million damage super comes in, and then we just dodge it or something like that. Now by this turn right here, what are we on, turn 6? Kid Buu is assuredly like fully built up. I mean, I guess we could see. I think when this fight was first around, no matter what, you would always hit Kid Buu and it would show the attack buff symbol, right? That was a thing, right? But now that doesn't happen anymore. So like we could tell that he's fully built up. So now Kid Buu's damage. Oh, by the way, in that last turn too, we actually had seen there was no super attack by Kid Buu, which is kind of uncommon. But, you know, we'll kind of be able to go through here. We'll be able to do very good with Nail. You know, trying to keep his HP low to the best we can to have him have more damage reduction. And then, you know, it's just trying to continue to have him stack. Now, keep in mind the whole time, you know, we do have, you know, we are on Glorio's team. So this is a 200% buff for Nail. But we have just a gigaton amount of support up, basically at all times for Nail, right? And for all these characters. So it's like running this Glorio team is like, I don't know. It's like running the Goku, Gohan, and Trunks team, except that character, like, doesn't die. Cannot be killed. And they do crazy damage. And he's invincible. Glorio, of course. I mean, but it is a matter of finding other characters to get into that slot 1 positioning to be able to handle the boss's, you know, big attacks if they are going to kind of like do it right away. So that's what this run kind of ended up being. You know, you'll notice we only very slowly are doing damage to Kid Buu. Just kind of whittling him down a little bit. But that HP healing of his is really nasty. But I felt like this would have been a good way to do this 200% video for Nail. Because, I mean, this is such a difficult fight. Such a difficult boss. It's like, I don't think, outside of like another burst mode type situation, I don't even think in 2025 we would see bosses hitting as hard as this Kid Buu. I don't think so. A 9 million super, maybe they'll get to 10 million. Not like well, again, I don't really want to throw the term out too much, but not like one of these gimmick-ass bosses, like maybe in the exciting heroine battle event, but like, you know, just like a real boss. All right, now we get to this rotation right here. This is where my shenanigans come into play. We have no avenue whatsoever towards living right here. There's nothing we could do. Because, you know, we're slowly healing our HP back. So now at this point, that attack from Kid Buu is truly dodge or die. Again, guys, I'm sorry, but you just have to know what you're doing when you play the game, right? Like, you have to give yourself a decent chance. You have to know, you know, not just blindly, cartoonishly putting, you know, 30 additional on every single character. That's not how you win in this game. It's not. Not in the Red Zone meta. Not in the Supreme Renaissance Battle meta with these bosses, you know. Now, right now, I don't really want to pretend like Kid Buu is a standard boss, right? Like, we're not, I struggle to think we're going to see anything like this even coming up anytime soon. I think Kid Buu, the level of damage, the level of pressure that he's putting forth is not something that we're going to be seeing, I think, too much moving forward. But we'll see. We'll see. We never know. We never know. Now, in this run, too, I was able to survive for quite a while. I think Kid Buu does eventually kill me. I think it's like turn 25 or something like that. If I'm not mistaken, I think AGL UI Goku does die to a normal, and that's how this run eventually ends. I think the problem was Glorio. One of the Glorios gave me a bad turn, just a bunch of additional normals, which means their attack debuffs were not applied to Kid Buu, which means that his normals were then dangerous. And then my, you know, UI Goku did not dodge, and then he got incinerated, right? That's what can happen in here. But my whole point was trying to make it to where I could just have to deal with the super attack. The Family Kamehameha standby is capable of tanking a little bit, as we can see right there. That's actually good, because it gets our HP low, which means Nail can kind of drop to a very competitive damage reduction level, right? Especially like now, you know, as we're going through here, I think towards the end I show it and we have Nail above like 4 million defense. Like we're starting, I think like right around like 4 million, 5 million defense is when potentially, well, I mean, no matter what, it pretty much depends on the damage reduction. It kind of like, he does start to look fairly impressive. Okay, so then we have this turn right here. Now this is again, yeah, look at that defense right there. Holy shit. Our HP is so low that Nail can eat it. Like Nail can just take this. It's no problem. So I try and avoid seeing type orbs, as you guys can see, to try and keep it to where I'm not healing besides just like the Namekian Link and stuff like that. so that way I can get away. Kid Buu does tend to super attack right away very often. Like, it's not super common. With how many runs I did of this, how many turns I saw of this Kid Buu, it's not very common for him to be super attacking in, like, slot 3 and stuff like that. He usually is just shooting that super out right away, right? Now, upcoming to, there's a really impressive turn we're going to see from Nail. I think it might be the next turn we see. And by the way, we do get multiple Dokkan attacks with Nail throughout this run, too. Remember, the Dokkan attack is able to actually penetrate through the nullification of Kid Buu. So even though Nail does a melee super, which can be blocked, if we do the melee super with a Dokkan attack, we are actually able to incinerate. I think I got a little nervous and I used the active right there because I was just very fearful. Like, what if Glorio gave me a bunch of additional normals? I think that's the reason I did that right there. Like, it's like true panic. Like, I've got a bad feeling because Glorio, I mean, Kid Buu supering for 9 million, right? He supers for 9 million. So it's like, you know, if Glorio gives us a bunch of supers on the turn, like, yeah, he's 100% A-okay. But, like, if he does one super and then 3 normals, that's where we could end up losing. So I think I did that just to give myself a little bit more peace of mind, because obviously the active does count as a super in terms of, like, his stats and a lot of his other stuff and, you know, stuff like that. Okay, so then we go on to this next turn. I think upcoming, there's 2 more things I want to show that we're going to get. One of these turns we do the Dokkan attack and we can actually just see him do damage. And then we also have another turn where Nail actually just eats the super attack. I think it might be it's next turn. Yeah, because it's actually another slot 3 super. You know, I did say, yeah, he doesn't super in slot 3 that much, but we've seen it a couple of times already in this video, right? All right, so here we are on turn 22. You know, Nail above that 4 million defense. And I guess it's like right around this area is where Nail, I guess, begins to be able to really consistently tank Kid Buu. Because going into this next rotation, this is where Nail actually just eats the super attack. I thought, you know, when this next turn happens right here, I thought I'd won. I was like, oh my god, I think we're good now. Because now that Nail, I knew could just tank the super. He does right here. Notice the turn starts, we're at full HP. So Nail only has 30% damage reduction, but his defense, oh, it's actually about 5 million, huh? His defense is so massive. Nail does double-digit tank this 9 million damage super from Kid Buu. And Nail does actually double-digit tank this. I thought I was dead. Like, this was another dodge or die situation, but he does get through it. By the way, look how long this fight's gone on, and look how much HP bastard rat Kid Buu still has. Like, it's just crazy. It's just crazy how much he heals. Like, between his healing and his nullification, it's just so difficult to get through essentially his defenses, his armor, right? Like, it's very tough to be able to damage his Kid Buu. But here we'll get the Dokkan attack. What's the attack stat looking at? This is 12.9 right there. And remember, on pretty much all these turns, by the way, we do have double Glorio support. I mean, that is pretty important to mention. It's, you know, with Glorio's help that a lot of these very, very silly, goofy numbers are really possible to actually see as well as take advantage of, right? So, all right, let's just go ahead and go to this. Here we go, sure. And then here we'll be able to see it right here, where Nail is able to, again, double-digit tank a 9 million damage super. So, let me know what you guys think. I mean, Nail is certainly effective. I mean, if there was ever, like, an Namekian team, like, legitimately or something like that, I mean, could Nail be a decent option? Maybe. I mean, it's situational. You know, the lower the HP, the higher the damage reduction, but he's supporting. He can handle business. That Nail under the 200% on Glorio's team, I think Nail, he does look pretty solid, right? For sure.